Krampus, the dark enforcer of Christmas every year. Millions of children around the world wait for Santa Claus. They leave out cookies, they write letters, they dream of presents under the tree. But in the mountains of Europe, there is another figure who visits during the Christmas season, and he does not bring gifts. He brings chains. His name is Krampus. He has horns like a goat. His body is covered in dark fur. He carries birch branches and iron chains that rattle as he moves. And while Santa rewards good children, Krampus punishes the bad. This is not a modern horror story. This is not something invented for movies or video games. Krampus is real folklore, centuries old, woven into Christmas celebrations across Alpine Europe. For generations, children went to bed on December 5th knowing that if they had been bad, Krampus might come for them before Santa ever arrived. So why does Christmas have a demon? Why would communities deliberately terrify their children during what is supposed to be a season of joy? The answer takes us back to a time when winter was not cozy, when darkness meant danger, when survival required discipline, and when fear served a purpose. This is the story of Krampus, not the monster from horror films, but the real folkloric figure who reminds us that Christmas was not always gentle, that celebration and terror once walked hand in hand, and that winter in the old world demanded respect. The beast beside the saint. Imagine a December night in the Austrian Alps, sometime in the 1800s. Children huddle near the fire. Outside, bells ring in the darkness, not church bells, something else, something closer. Then he appears. Krampus stands nearly 7 feet tall. His face is carved wood or leather, twisted into a demonic snarl. Massive horns curl from his head. His body is wrapped in animal pelts, usually goat or sheep. In one hand he holds a bundle of birch branches called a routen. In the other, he rattles chains. Sometimes he carries a basket on his back, a basket for children. This is Krampus in the traditional folklore of Austria, Bavaria, Slovenia, and surrounding Alpine regions. He is not a ghost story told to scare kids around a campfire. He is a figure who appears in actual community celebrations, year after year, generation after generation. His main night is December 5th, Krampusnacht, the night before St. Nicholas Day. See, in these regions, St. Nicholas arrives on December 6th to reward good children with treats and small gifts. But the night before, Krampus comes to deal with the bad ones. The two figures work together. Nicholas is the reward. Krampus is the consequence. Light and shadow, gift and punishment. And here is what matters. This was not a fringe belief. This was mainstream tradition in entire communities. Villages held official Krampus runs. Churches tolerated him, even if they did not approve. Parents invoked his name. Children genuinely feared him. So who created this figure? And more importantly, why did these communities need him? To understand Krampus, you have to understand what winter used to be. Not winter as we know it now, with central heating and grocery stores and online shopping. Winter before modern technology. Winter in the mountains. Winter when survival was not guaranteed. The sun disappeared early. Temperatures dropped below freezing for months. Food supplies ran low. If your harvest failed, you starved. If you got lost in a snowstorm, you died. If you did not gather enough firewood, you froze. There was no rescue coming, no safety net. Just your family, your community, and the decisions you made. In that world, children could not afford to be careless. Running off into the woods could be fatal. Wasting food could mean hunger in February. Disobeying parents could endanger the whole family. So communities needed tools to teach discipline, to create boundaries, to make children understand that actions had consequences. Enter Krampus. He wasn't just a random monster. He was a focused tool of social control. His message was simple: behave or face punishment. Listen to your parents. Don't wander. Don't waste. Don't lie. The stakes were real, so the fear had to be real too. Think about it. A parent could say, "Don't go into the woods alone. It's dangerous." That's abstract. Or they could say, "Krampus takes children who disobey into the forest and you never come back." That's concrete. That creates genuine caution. Was it harsh? Yes. Was it effective? Absolutely. Because in a world where winter could kill you, fear wasn't cruelty. Fear was protection. It kept children close to home. It reinforced the rules that kept communities alive. Krampus represented the very real dangers of the season, given form and horns and chains. And once winter demanded that kind of discipline, the question becomes, where did Krampus actually come from? Here's where we need to be careful. The internet is full of claims about Krampus being an ancient pagan god. Some of that might be true, but the honest answer is this: we do not know for sure. What we do know is this. Before Christianity spread through Europe, Alpine communities had their own winter traditions. Rituals to mark the darkest time of year, ceremonies involving masks and animal skins, celebrations meant to drive out evil spirits or welcome the return of light. These were not written down, so the details are lost, but the echoes remain. When Christianity arrived, it did not erase these older practices. Instead, it absorbed them. It changed things, and it gave them new meanings. This happened all over Europe. Pagan festivals became Christian holidays. Old spirits became saints or demons. The church kept what it could use, and it demonized what it could not. Krampus likely emerged from this blending. His horns, fur, and bestial appearance match older European imagery of wild spirits and nature deities. His role as punisher fits neatly into Christian ideas about sin and judgment. Saint Nicholas, the saint, gained a helper who looks suspiciously like a demon. It is a compromise, a fusion. The church never fully approved of Krampus. He was too wild, too pagan, too frightening. But communities kept him anyway because he served a purpose. He was theirs, part of their identity. Folk traditions are remarkably stubborn. By the medieval period, Krampus was firmly established in Alpine culture, not as a god, not as a saint, but as something in between. A folk figure, a community tradition, a necessary shadow beside St. Nicholas's light. And that shadow came to life every December 5th. Krampusnacht, the night of Krampus, December 5th. It is not subtle. In traditional celebrations, young men from the village dress as Krampus. They spend weeks crafting masks from wood or leather, making horns from goats, and assembling costumes of sheepskin or furs. They prepare chains to rattle, bells to ring, and birch branches to swat at misbehaving children. The preparation is serious. The result is terrifying. As darkness falls, the Krampuses emerge. They move through the streets in groups, bells clanging, chains dragging. They might chase children. They might bang on doors. They create chaos, but controlled chaos. Because there are rules. The Krampuses can scare, they can chase, they can make noise, but they cannot actually hurt anyone. The birch branches sting but do not injure. The chains intimidate but do not bind. The whole performance walks a careful line between terror and safety. It is frightening, but everyone knows it will end. And that is the point. This is ritualized fear. Fear with boundaries. Fear that serves a purpose. Children experience genuine terror, but within a community context. They learn that breaking rules has consequences. They feel the weight of judgment. But they also learn that if they behave, if they stay within bounds, they are safe. St. Nicholas will reward them tomorrow. The community protects them. Order holds. For adults, the ritual serves a different function. It is a release. Winter is harsh and stressful. The Krampus runs let people embrace the darkness for one night. They let chaos loose in a controlled way, then pack it away for another year. It is also a bonding experience. Families gather, communities come together. The scary parts make the warm parts warmer. The fear makes the safety feel safer. This tradition continued for centuries, through medieval times, through the Reformation, through wars and plagues and social changes. Krampus endured because he mattered, because communities needed him. But that did not mean everyone was happy about it. The church was never comfortable with Krampus. Too demonic, too pagan, too wild. But for centuries they tolerated him because fighting folk traditions is difficult and often pointless. Then came the early 20th century. Fascist governments in Europe, particularly in Austria and Germany, began cracking down on traditional celebrations. Krampus was too chaotic, too unpredictable, too tied to local identity rather than state control. There were official bans, attempts to erase him from culture. They failed. Because Krampus was not just a tradition, he was identity. Villages kept celebrating in secret or in defiance. The figure was too deeply rooted, too important. You can ban a tradition, but you cannot erase what it means to people. After World War II, Krampus celebrations slowly returned to public life. Then something interesting happened. They started growing, spreading, evolving. Today, Krampusnacht celebrations are bigger than ever, not just in small Alpine villages, but in cities, not just in Europe, but around the world. Krampus runs draw thousands of participants and spectators. The tradition has exploded. But something's changed. Modern Krampus is different from folkloric Krampus. Horror movies turned him into a slasher villain. Pop culture made him edgy and commercial. He appears on t-shirts and coffee mugs. He's a Halloween costume, a meme, an aesthetic. There is nothing wrong with this evolution. Folklore always adapts, but it is worth noting the difference. The original Krampus was community discipline. Modern Krampus is entertainment. The original was about real fear, serving a real purpose. The modern version is about enjoying fear from a safe distance. Still, even the modern version preserves something important. It keeps the idea of Krampus alive. It reminds us that Christmas was not always sanitized, that winter once had teeth. And maybe, in our comfortable modern world, we need that reminder more than ever. Modern Christmas is bright, warm, safe, commercialized. We shop online. We control our thermostats. Winter is an inconvenience, not a threat. Christmas is about joy and giving and family togetherness and absolutely nothing scary. But this was not always true, and Krampus is the proof. He exists because winter used to demand respect, because survival required discipline, because communities needed tools to teach children that actions have consequences. He exists because joy and fear, celebration and terror, light and darkness used to coexist naturally. Strip away the horns and the chains and the theater, and Krampus represents something fundamental. Boundaries matter. Rules serve a purpose. Not every moment is gentle. Not every season is safe. For children in Alpine villages centuries ago, Krampus taught that lesson viscerally. Be good. Listen. Stay within bounds. The stakes are real. But if you do, St. Nicholas will reward you. The community will protect you. You will be safe. It is a harsh lesson, but it is an honest one. And maybe that is why Krampus has survived, not just as folklore, but as an idea. Because even in our modern, comfortable world, we understand on some level that not everything should be soft, that children need to learn consequences, that a little fear, properly applied, can be healthy. Krampus reminds us that Christmas was not always about excess and consumption. It was about surviving winter, making it through to spring, celebrating that survival with your community, and teaching the next generation how to do the same. He is not the opposite of Christmas. He is the other half of it. So here is the truth about Krampus. He is not evil. He is not random cruelty. He is not a demon in the way we think of demons. He is a tool, a tradition, a piece of cultural memory that refuses to die. He exists because winter once meant death, and communities needed children to understand that. He exists because boundaries matter. He exists because fear, channeled correctly, can protect. And he exists because joy only means something when you understand what darkness looks like. The modern world prefers its Christmas sanitized. All light, no shadow. All presents, no consequences. All Santa, no Krampus. But that is not the full story. That is not the complete picture. Because in the Alps, in villages that remember, Krampus still walks on December 5th. The chains still rattle. The bells still ring. The children still feel that spike of fear. And on December 6th, St. Nicholas still arrives with rewards. Both figures matter. Both serve a purpose. Santa did not replace Krampus. He never could, because they were never enemies. They were always partners, two halves of the same winter truth. Light only matters because darkness is real. And winter, even now, demands respect. The bells are ringing. Can you hear them?